Well, could an al-Qaeda militant soon be released from Gitmo and headed to a town near you? Some lawmakers on Capitol Hill sounding the alarm bell now on the president's plan to close Gitmo and ship off these terrorists. One Republican just released this web video outlining his concerns.
Moving those terrorists to Kansas? Not on my watch.
So, could it happen? Terrorists living on Main Street, USA? Wait till you hear who's now saying, not in my backyard. Bill Salmon is our managing editor for our D.C. bureau. He joins me now. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Megan.
So now I look. So these top House Republicans are pushing a bill, which you got to love the naming in Congress. It's called the Keep Terrorists Out of America Act. How do you vote against that? But I was interested to see it's not just Republicans, even some Democrats now, when faced with the actual proposition of moving a Gitmo detainee to a prison in their state, are saying, oh no, including Dianne Feinstein. She's got good old Alcatraz sitting out there in San Francisco. Yeah. She says it's a national treasure. You can't move them there. So where do we move them?
Well, I think the Republicans have finally stumbled on a winning issue. And I think they were frustrated because Obama got a lot of credit when he, second day in office, said he was going to close Gitmo. He gets all the hosannas from the left wing and so on and so forth. I think Republicans realized that the NIMBY aspect of this story is where you make some hay. When you tell people that, hey, these people might be transferred to your district, you can make some political points.
NIMBY, not in my backyard.
Exactly, yeah, right. And you saw not just this video, but Mitch McConnell was making a speech on the floor of the Senate today about this. There's not just that legislation that you talked about, but there was other legislation that's been introduced from the House and Senate by Republicans saying, look, you can't use tax dollars to give these terrorists a check, like the Uyghurs, which has been talked about.
And so now,
I mean, they're actually talking about, you know, some subset of these terrorists, which would be or terrorist suspects, the Uyghurs, which are the Chinese Muslims. There's been one federal judge said that they should be released into the United States because you can't give them back to China where they'd be tortured or killed.
17 of them that would be released domestically.
And there's been some actual legitimate talk from the administration about giving them a government check. In other words, our tax dollars would go to people who were in Gitmo.
Bill, what on earth do they do about this? I mean, the president wants Gitmo closed. He says it's going to happen by January 2010. And now these lawmakers are saying, great, where are you going to put them? And you're trying to find senator after senator who will say, yeah, it's fine, send them here. And as I say, Dianne Feinstein is saying, well, not Alcatraz. And then the list goes on and on about these senators who have an objection about why they can't go in their state. How do you find a place for them?
Well, my prediction is that when we get to the end of this one-year period, that President Obama kicks the can down the road and says, we haven't been able to resolve this yet, I'm going to need another year. One of the things that the Democrats balked at this week was allocating $50 or $80 million to build a prison. That's why they said no to Obama's request for funding to begin this process of getting rid of Gitmo, because when you look at what tangibly that means is it means building a new prison, and nobody, again, wants it in their backyard.
Right, so the Democrats shut them down on that. The Democrats said, no, you're not getting your $50 million.
It was the Democrats, not the Republicans, that shut it down, and the Republicans are sensing that they have an opening here because this plays into the fears that some voters have about Democrats and national security. You know, again, you know, people might be okay with the sort of abstract concept of closing Gitmo because it's become a symbol of, you know, bad things and so on and so forth.
Then what?
But when you make it very real and say it may go to Kansas because you've got Fort Leavenworth there, it may go to San Francisco where you've got Alcatraz. You start getting very specific. People say, it's like, you know, look at Yucca Mountain. We haven't been able to find a place for the nuclear waste. How are we going to find a place for terrorism detainees?
We're coming up with short time, so I want to get to this point. Wall Street Journal editorial says, and I quote, safe to say that any new setting will not be in a 2012 swing state, and you don't have to be a cynic to wonder if it will have 2 Republican senators. Is that fair charge?
Well, I'll tell you, I think it is a fair charge. And the dirty little secret is that the new Guantanamo is actually Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan, because that's where they've got several times as many detainees. That's where they're all ending up. And I think President Obama, that is going to be his Gitmo, is Bagram. And you're already seeing some of the liberals get up in arms and demand habeas corpus and demand some of the things for Bagram that we saw demanded for the detainees at Gitmo.
Well, I, for one, will be interested to see the vote on the Keep Terrorists Out of America Act. Bill Salmon, thanks so much for your expertise on it.